Nestor's gonna lead this next topic. Uh,
Oh,
Nestor had a while ago. Nestor added. I mentioned it on one of the, I think the first pod, the first episode, that Nestor added something to the list. And so Nestor had a question about how men are seen in media currently. Go ahead, Ness.
mhm. So I mean, it's more than just currently.
Because your
It's
question
definitely
was
something that's
still
been. Yeah, yeah. It's a very interesting balance, I'd say, because it's definitely something that's been going on before. So I was presented with the thought about role models, positive male role models in television and movies. Um, and their reference or their question really towards me was best example I can give would be Cosby Show versus real life Cosby.
okay.
Right. So like Cosby Show, we had like this father, this positive male role model on TV, and a lot of like TV dads were like that, right, at that time. Versus as we get into like the late '90s, the aughts, and so on, you have like the dumb husband, uh, and then as we come to modern day, a lot of those TV dads that seemed positive had a lot of negative attached to them. So it's just the idea that is that something that's still possible? What does that even look like? Like what would a positive male role model look like today?
Okay. Uh,
I
oh,
guess.
go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. I thought you had more to say. Well, I think first you have to separate the two. And this is something I said
Mm,
on Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast when it comes to great artists in music with tainted histories, right? We spoke about R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, Trey Songz. I think this falls in the same category where you have to separate things. Or ask yourself, can you? Because I try my best to separate things to a certain extent, but everyone doesn't look at it that way. There are some people who feel this person is a monster, fuck whatever their contributions were. And I don't necessarily agree. I think that these things should be taken on a case by case basis. So, yes, if you use Cosby as an example, uh, I'm tempted to reference Dave Chappelle, but I'll keep it clean for now. I think that Cosby did a lot of great things for both black entertainers and black viewers during his tenure in creative world, in television, in Hollywood. And yes, we learn later in life that he's a nasty man, but uh, that doesn't necessarily erase his contribution to so many people, so many generations. In my opinion, yes, what he did is inexcusable. Rape and all the other things, drugging people. If this is true, this is nasty. This should not be something that we applaud. But I don't think that erases the great things he did, both for the black community in Hollywood and the black viewership that grew up watching this positive role model. Uh, so I guess that's where I see it. I see it as it's kind of two separate things. Are we talking real life or are we talking television? Because to me, it does not always intertwine. A lot of people like
right.
to use.
I kind of threw a lot out there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, right? To me, what are
Yeah.
we answering? Because if we're speaking about
Right.
positive images of men on television and in movies, to me that's very different than, oh well, such and such actor is actually a nasty bastard. He be running around saying
Yeah.
grab him by the pussy. Okay, well then that's two different things because they're two separate topics. So
Right.
that's my
Yes.
Yeah.
take
Yes.
on it.
I think more the focus that this person brought it to me was more about the on TV,
Yeah.
what we actually see like on TV on
The
movies.
image, right? The image itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I,
So like they felt like that's not something that's as visible anymore on TV.
I feel like the images of manhood, that spectrum of manhood, has never been wider as it is now. I mean, you have the macho, The Rock kind of guy out there that's like super strong yet super sensitive, right? And you have some guy hosting, Emmys wearing a dress to accept awards. You know what I'm saying? You have Caitlyn Jenner get on the front of, covers. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like at this point in time, the spectrum has never been this wide before. So for the youth coming up, they can just, choose wherever you feel you get your strength from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you feel like, hey, I kind of relate to Bill Barr as a comedian, and he's in this like interracial marriage, and that's like your thing, and something about him, or you relate to The Rock and that macho whatever, fine. Or if you feel like, hey, you know what, I'm kind of like, I like this dude, being bold and strong in his sexuality and wearing dresses. I remember when Will Smith's son put on the dress, and everybody like went crazy. What's his name? What's Will Smith?
Jaden Smith.
Jaden. Yeah, Jaden Smith, right? Like he was like the first like cat, like way back. Everybody was shocked. Now it's not even a shock. Now people are like, oh, okay, well you're wearing that red dress, oh, to the Oscars? Okay, cool. Like people are being celebrated for that now. So in terms of the spectrum of manhood, this is it's incredibly wide. It's never been this wide before. So I feel like positive or negative, it's like it's all, that's sort of a relative term, right? I feel like kids coming up right now can just choose whatever they like and anchor themselves to that and be like, yo, that dude is my joint. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have thoughts?
I just agree with what Jure said. Yeah, the definition of a positive male role model is a lot of lanes for all the lanes that are in the world right now. So I agree with that.
Days Tez. Sorry.
Rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Well said.
My God. I second that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I definitely.
Like, what's the question again? That's why I've been just, listening,
So, so they were kind of questioning like if there's still positive male role models on TV or in movies or just in media in general, in compared to like back in like the 90s, let's say, where you see all these good dads and being like these emotional anchors and being these compassionate people while holding the family together in like traditional male roles. You don't see that as much now, so it's not there.
Well, it's also hard for me to answer the question because, and please, guys, don't jump on me when I say this. I'm like, because you're saying TV. I don't watch TV. So I'm really trying to process the question. I'm trying to think streaming sites, Hulu's. If we start talking about that, I'm still watching that stuff. I'm watching the old TV shows. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not watching anything now. Like I hear advertisements like Black-ish, or I don't know if I should be saying that. I know that's kind of like free advertisement.
So good.
But I hear those things, being circulated when I'm out and about, certain billboards and advertisements. But Jay tell you I haven't watched TV in years.
That's a good question. Is there what's the shows now? What are the shows now? I don't even know. Is there a family show?
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, Dre definitely covered my thoughts on it. Is like it's just this widened frame. It's not the same traditional male role models that it was before.
Right.
You're not seeing the same views that you saw before. It's definitely expanded. You see a lot of different like that spectrum of
I
what a
think I
man can be. Yeah,
I think I because right, quote unquote, they would have considered some of their mannerisms and their behavior to be toxic masculinity.
Mm.
Isn't that like that term? Because as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about how Uncle Phil came into the kitchen, or how Carl addressed Eddie. You feel what I'm saying? When certain things took place, I'm thinking about those fathers. I don't know if y'all watch Parenthood with Robert Townsend. I watched Parenthood. I know how he would approach his kids, and even how he would exhibit himself with his relationship, with his wife. So I'm saying that to say, like, when somebody say what something is a positive or a negative, it depends on the person that's looking at it,
that's true.
because what you may consider positive, somebody else may consider something different. You get what I'm saying? And that
Yep.
goes back to what Dre was saying too. I don't know. Did you say subjective or you said
So
relative?
relative. Yeah.
Relative.
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 Yeah.
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 I think that's why I don't really know how to answer the question, man, because who
Yeah.
knows what people consider positive in their
Yeah,
eyes.
Dre put it right. It's all relative right now. It really is all
Yeah.
relative.
Yeah.
It's well said, Dre.
Yeah. Because now you know what it's like. The answer to the question is in the whoever's asking the question. So the question would have to be, well, what do you consider a positive role model? Because if you consider, well, I'm talking about Bill Cosby, that kind of like TV dad. Okay, then that's still there. You know what I'm saying? You can watch television shows right now, and that type of cat is he's there, he's around. But even going back to the 80s and 90s. There used to be a sitcom called Who's the Boss with Tony Danza. I don't know if y'all
Yes.
remember that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Tony Danza was the first show where it was like, well, the woman is going out working and Tony is staying home raising the kids and washing the dishes and, taking them to school and shit. And that was like crazy back in those days. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the first show that was like, we're going to switch the roles here. And you realize, well,
Yeah.
Tony
Shout
was
out Tony
actually
Danza,
really
man.
good at it.
Shout out Tony.
Shout out to Tony Danza. You know what I mean?
My
Like,
man.
he was the first cat that was like, well, he don't really bring in the income. She does that. But, they had this romantic relationship, but he was way better at, the domestic duties in the household and raising the kids. He was just way better at it. It didn't make him less of a man or
He
whatever.
was cool
And
too.
when
He
you
was
watch
super cool.
yeah, he was cool, right? He was
He
like,
was very cool.
yeah, and he was there like, oh man, he had insight. He helped them out. You know what I'm saying? He broke up the fights. He was that man for her. When she came home, and they did their thing. So it was like that first show that was just like, wow, you switch these gender roles, and nothing exploded. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was actually cool. And now as we watch TV, I don't know if y'all saw this. There's a new show. A new Interview with a Vampire that's on AMC right now, and they just shot the first one. Now, if you into the books or you into that whole vampire shit, it's kind of like alludes the like homosexuality. Like they couldn't really say it in 95 when Tom Cruise was playing it, right? They had to kind of allude to it. But now it's 2022. The first episode, they're just letting you know, son, I like you. And, let's get rid of this chick so we can do what we need to do. Like straight up and down. Like, you can do that now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they can be open, they can be free. You can let the characters just be who the characters are without all these like innuendos and pissing people off. It's like, well, if you don't want to see two men have sex, then don't watch Interview with a Vampire. I'm sorry. Like, go watch something else. Other cats will.
That reminds me of, yo, anybody watch Spartacus? Anybody watch
Hell
that show?
Yes! What?
Hell yeah.
That's the
Joint. That was the joint. Anything goes on that show.
Yes.
Anything goes.
Yes.
It was
Right.
for everybody. Anybody could watch that,
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that's a male soap opera. I'm sorry. No, not part of that. Spartacus is like a male soap opera, bro. Like,
yo, it was dope though, man. It was dope, man. It had everything you needed there. Anybody can watch. Anybody can get off on whatever you saw in that.
I'm watching Male Velas.
Male Velas. That might be the name of the episode.
that's what Spartacus was, yo. Spartacus had everything.
Spartacus is awesome, man. Spartacus is great.
Yeah, we coming up with all the names, Male
That's
Velas.
hilarious.
It was, yo. Like, woof.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So y'all exploded when he said Spartacus.
Son,
It was
that's
a
the
riot.
shit.
Spartacus.
I'm mad at you, and because I'm mad at you, not only am I going to kill you, but I'm going to put you into the wall and bury your body inside of the whole mother
Right.
joint, inside the stadium. Word.
Right.
We don't know where he's at. I don't know who he had either. You should have got on my nerves.
Where can I watch this?
Spartacus.
Oh, it's on Netflix, yo. It's on Netflix.
This
Used
is
to
on
be.
Netflix?
Yeah, it used to be on Netflix.
But
Oh,
D,
'cause, you know, I'm
but
still
D, don't you got a Fire Stick?